You think the dangerous things announce themselves. They don't. The things that ruin your life never arrive with sirens. They arrive quietly. A small compromise, a neglected relationship, a thought you didn't challenge, a prayer you skipped, one delay, then another and another. Proverbs 22 verse 3 says something haunting. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Same danger, same warning, two completely different outcomes. Today I'm showing you 6 habits that most people ignore until it's too late. Stay until the end. The 6th habit is the one almost everyone skips, and it's the one that quietly decides everything else. Let's begin. Habit 1. Guard your thoughts before they become your reality. Most people only examine their thoughts after their life is already falling apart. That's backwards. Because every action begins as a thought. Every habit, every decision, every word you speak, it all starts in the mind. And most people let anything live there. Fear, bitterness, jealousy, anxiety, lies about who they are, lies about who God is. They assume thoughts don't matter because no one can see them. But Scripture says something different. As a person thinks, so they become. Your life moves toward your dominant thoughts. If your mind is filled with fear, your decisions will be shaped by fear. If your mind is filled with bitterness, your relationships will taste like bitterness. The wise person watches their thoughts early, before they grow roots, before they become words, before they become actions, before they become a life. You don't wait for the collapse to examine the foundation. You inspect it now. What are you allowing to live in your mind today? Because tomorrow, it will be living in your life. Habit 2. Maintain relationships before they need repair. Most people only value relationships when they're about to lose them. A friendship, a marriage, a connection with family, someone drifts. And suddenly you realize you haven't really talked in months. Not really, not deeply. You assumed they'd always be there. So you stopped investing, stopped listening, stopped appreciating, stopped showing up. And here's what nobody tells you. Relationships rarely end because of one big blow up. They end because of neglect. Small moments of distance, repeated over years, until the gap becomes too wide. Think of a garden. Weeds don't destroy it overnight. They grow slowly, quietly, and one day you look, and the garden is gone. The wise person strengthens relationships while they're healthy, not after they're breaking. A conversation, a phone call, an apology, a small act of kindness. Maintenance is always easier than repair, and it's always cheaper. Who do you need to reach out to today before the distance becomes a divide? Habit 3. Manage small compromises before they compound. Here's a lie most people believe. One small compromise doesn't matter. One dishonest moment, one shortcut, one justification. It feels harmless. It feels insignificant. It feels easy to undo later. That's the trap. Because almost nobody ruins their life with one massive decision. It's thousands of small compromises, stacked over time. A ship 1 degree off course won't notice the error immediately, but give it enough distance, and it arrives at a completely different destination. Samson didn't collapse in one moment. His fall began years before anyone saw it. Solomon didn't drift overnight. His compromises accumulated quietly. Then the consequences became visible. And by then, years had already passed. Most people focus on the visible collapse. God focuses on the hidden compromise, because he knows where it leads. The wise person corrects small things early, before they become large things, before they become public things, before they become irreversible things. What small compromise are you tolerating right now? It won't stay small forever. Habit 4. Prepare financially before the need arrives. This habit feels boring until you need it. Then it becomes everything. Most people ignore financial preparation because things are fine right now. Income is steady, bills are paid, life seems predictable. So why prepare? Here's why. Unexpected seasons come to everyone. Economic shifts, job changes, medical expenses, family emergencies. And the people who prepared walk through difficulty with stability. The people who didn't walk through difficulty with panic. This isn't about fear, it's about responsibility. How you handle today's resources influences what God entrusts tomorrow. The discipline you develop during abundance becomes your protection during difficulty. Most people try to learn financial wisdom during a crisis. That's the hardest time to learn anything. The wise person prepares before the need arrives. Not out of anxiety, out of stewardship. Because preparation isn't about predicting the future, it's about being ready for it. Habit 5. Listen to God's warnings early. Here's a truth that's easy to miss. God's correction is not rejection, it's protection. But most people resist it. They ignore the conviction, dismiss the warning, avoid the uncomfortable truth. And here's what happens next. The longer you ignore God's whisper, the quieter it becomes. Not because God stopped speaking, because you stopped listening. Jonah ignored the warning. Pharaoh ignored the warning. Both paid dearly. And the pattern is always the same. God speaks quietly first, before circumstances shout. He gives a conviction, a sense that something is wrong. a quiet prompting to change, a nudge that won't go away. The wise person responds early, adjusts, changes course, repents if needed. The foolish person waits and waits until the warning becomes a consequence. God's warnings are not punishment. They are mercy in advance. The question is, are you still soft enough to hear them? Habit 6. Prepare your soul before life tests it. This is the habit almost everyone skips, and it quietly decides everything else. Why? Because spiritual preparation never feels urgent until it's too late, until the tragedy arrives, until the loss comes, until the diagnosis hits, and then you discover something. Spiritual strength cannot be borrowed at the last minute. It must be built beforehand. Jesus told a story about two builders. One built on rock, one built on sand. Both looked fine on a sunny day. Identical houses, identical appearances. Then the storm came, and the difference was revealed. The difference wasn't in the storm, it was in the foundation. Built long before the rain began, most people prepare for everything except their soul. Careers, investments, schedules, goals, but the soul gets whatever is left over, until life tests it. Then the neglect becomes visible. The wise person builds daily. Prayer, scripture, worship, obedience, trust. These habits seem ordinary, even boring, but they create deep roots. And deep roots survive powerful storms. Don't wait for the crisis, build now, while the sun is still shining. Most people don't see the danger, because the consequences aren't immediate. They arrive later, months later, years later, decades later, but they arrive. Proverbs tells us the prudent see danger and take refuge. The simple keep going and pay the penalty. Same warning, your choice. So ask yourself today, which of these 6 habits have I been ignoring? And what will happen if I continue? Because wisdom isn't about knowing what's right. It's about acting before it's urgent. If this spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe and turn on notifications. More wisdom is coming. Now go build what needs building before the storm arrives.